One of television's most beloved hosts walks onto a set and completely dismantles a co-host's argument in real time. That's exactly what happened when Ryan Seacrest appeared on The View. What started as a friendly conversation quickly turned into one of the most intense exchanges in daytime television history. Ryan sits down at the table, and right from the start, you can feel the energy. The panel is discussing the current state of entertainment media, when Joy Behar jumps in with a comment about how modern television has lost its authenticity. She says, "Ryan, you've been in this industry for decades. Don't you think that? Everything now is just manufactured drama. Everything is scripted. Everything is produced to death. Where is the real connection with audiences?" Ryan leans back, smiles politely, and responds, "Joy, I think that's an interesting perspective, but I have to respectfully disagree. Audiences today are more connected to content than ever before. Social media has given people a direct line to creators, hosts, performers. The manufactured drama you're talking about has always existed. The difference now is that audiences are smart enough to see through it." Joy immediately fires back. "Oh, come on, Ryan. You can't seriously tell me that reality television, which you've been a huge part of, is authentic. American Idol, all those singing competitions, they're edited to create narratives. They pick heroes and villains. That's not real." And this is where Ryan starts to push back a little harder. He says, "Joy, with all due respect, you're conflating editing with dishonesty. Yes, we edit shows. Every single television program is edited, including this one. But that doesn't mean the emotions aren't real. That the talent isn't real. That the journeys these people go on aren't real. When someone stands on that stage and sings their heart out and America votes for them, that's as real as it gets." The other co-hosts are watching this unfold, unsure whether to jump in. Joy doesn't back down though. She says, "But you're making money off these people's dreams, Ryan. You're packaging their vulnerability and selling it to advertisers. How is that not exploitative?" Ryan's expression shifts slightly, and you can tell he's done being polite. He says, "Joy, I'm going to stop you right there. Making money doesn't equal exploitation. These contestants come on these shows willingly. They sign contracts, they understand the process, and many of them have launched incredible careers. Because of these platforms, Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood, Jennifer Hudson, these are people who might never have had opportunities without these shows. So to reduce it to exploitation is not just unfair, it's insulting to everyone involved." Joy crosses her arms and says, "Well, what about the people who don't make it? What about the ones who get humiliated in auditions, who get their dreams crushed on national television? You don't think that's problematic?" Ryan doesn't hesitate. He says, "Joy, failure is part of life, and learning to handle rejection is part of growing up. These shows don't create rejection, they just show it. We live in a culture now where everyone gets a participation trophy, where we're so afraid of hurting feelings that we don't prepare people for reality. These auditions, as tough as they can be, teach resilience. They teach people that not everyone is going to love what you do, and that's okay." One of the other co-hosts tries to lighten the mood and says something about how both perspectives have merit, but Joy is not having it. She cuts in and says, "Ryan, that sounds like you're just defending a system that benefits you. Of course you're going to say it's all fine because you've made a fortune from it." And this is where the tension really escalates. Looks directly at Joy and says, "Joy, I could say the same thing about you. You've made a career out of having strong opinions on this show. Does that mean every opinion you have is just designed to keep you employed? Or is it possible that you actually believe what you're saying, just like I believe in the work I do?" Asterisk, the table goes quiet for a second. You can feel that shift where everyone realizes this isn't just a playful debate anymore. Joy's face tightens and she says, "That's not the same thing, Ryan, and you know it." Asterisk, Ryan doesn't let up. He says, "It's exactly the same thing. Joy, you're questioning my integrity because I work in entertainment that you personally don't respect." But the truth is, millions of people love these shows. They connect with them. They vote. They engage. Just because it's not your cup of tea doesn't make it less valid. Asterisk, Joy snaps back with, "I never said it wasn't valid. I said it was manufactured, and you're sitting here proving my point by getting defensive about it?" Asterisk, Ryan actually laughs at this, but it's not a friendly laugh. It's one of those laughs that says, "Are you serious right now?" He says, "Joy, I'm not defensive. I'm correcting you. There's a difference. You made a claim. I provided a counter-argument with actual examples, and now you're saying I'm defensive because I don't agree with you. That's not how debates work." Asterisk, another co-host tries to jump in again, saying something about how passionate discussions are, what the view is all about. But Ryan cuts her off politely but firmly. He says, "No, I want to finish this point because it's important. Joy, you and I both know that television is a business, but it's also an art form. It's also a way to connect people, to tell stories, to create moments that matter. And just because something is popular doesn't mean it's shallow. Just because something makes money doesn't mean it's soulless. I've spent my entire career trying to create opportunities for people, trying to give audiences something they enjoy, and I'm proud of that work." Proud of that work? Asterisk, Joy stares at him for a moment and then says, "Well, Ryan, I think we're just going to have to agree to disagree on this one." Asterisk, but Ryan shakes his head. He says, "No, Joy, we're not going to do that. Because agreeing to disagree implies that both viewpoints are equally valid. In this case, one of us is making assumptions and the other is speaking from actual experience. I've been on set with these contestants. I've seen their faces when they succeed and when they fail. I've watched careers launch, and I've watched people handle disappointment with grace. So when you sit here and say it's all manufactured, you're dismissing real human experiences. I can't just agree to disagree with that." Asterisk, the atmosphere is electric. The audience is completely silent. Everyone watching at home glued to their screens. Joy takes a breath, trying to decide how to respond. She finally says, "Ryan, I think you're taking this way too personally." Asterisk, Ryan, without missing a beat, says Joy, "I think you're not taking it personally enough. These are people's lives we're talking about. These are dreams, careers, futures. If we're going to have this conversation, then yes, it should be personal, because it matters." Asterisk, Joy opens her mouth to respond, but Ryan holds up a hand and continues. "And let me tell you something else, Joy. You talk about authenticity like it's this rare thing that only exists in certain types of media. But authenticity isn't about the format, it's about the people. I have worked with some of the most authentic, genuine, talented people in the world. So when you dismiss an entire genre of television as fake, you're dismissing them too. And they deserve better than that." Asterisk, Joy leans forward, fire in her eyes. "Okay, Ryan, let me ask you this. If these shows are so authentic and so meaningful, why do they all follow the same formula? Why is there always the sob story, the comeback kid, the underdog? You're telling me that just happens naturally?" Asterisk, Ryan doesn't flinch. "Joy, patterns exist because they resonate with people. The hero's journey has been the foundation of storytelling for thousands of years. It's not manipulation, it's human nature. People connect with struggle and triumph because those are universal experiences. Every single person watching has faced challenges, has had setbacks, has hoped for a second chance. So yes, those narratives appear frequently, because they matter. Two people. Asterisk Joy shakes her head. But you're selecting for those stories. Ryan, you're choosing which contestants to feature, which backgrounds to highlight. That's curation, and curation is a form of manipulation. Asterisk Ryan's voice sharpens. Joy, by that logic, every news program is manipulation. Every documentary is manipulation. Every biography ever written is manipulation. Choosing what to focus on is not the same as lying. It's called editing. It's a necessary part of communication. You can't show everything, so you show what's most relevant, most compelling, most meaningful. That's not dishonesty. That's craft. Asterisk another. Co-host, clearly uncomfortable, tries to redirect by asking Ryan about his transition to traditional network television. But Joy cuts her off. No, I want to stay on this because Ryan is dancing around my actual point. The point is that reality television pretends to be something it's not. It brands itself as real when it's actually highly produced. Asterisk Ryan looks at her with complete exasperation. Joy, what do you think this show is? Do you think The View just happens? Do you think there are no producers, no segment planning, no discussions about what topics to cover? Do you think the cameras just magically know where to point? Every single piece of television you've ever been on is produced. That's what makes it television and not just random people talking in a room. Asterisk Joy's face goes red. That is completely different, Ryan. We're having real conversations about real issues. We're not manufacturing drama for ratings. Asterisk Ryan stares at her for a long moment. Joy, you're literally manufacturing drama right now. We came on to talk about entertainment, and you've turned this into a confrontation. Because confrontation gets attention, and that's fine. That's what this show does. But don't sit there and act like you're above the very thing you're accusing me of. Asterisk, the audience gasps. Another co-host tries to laugh it off, saying, well, this got spicy, but nobody at the table is laughing. Asterisk Joy looks stunned. Excuse me, are you seriously comparing what we do here to reality television? Competitions. Asterisk Ryan nods. In terms of production value and intent to engage audiences. Absolutely, Joy. You have writers, you have producers, you have meetings about what's going to generate conversation. The only difference between what you do and what I do is the format, but we're both in the business of creating compelling television that people want to watch. The difference is, Joy stands up slightly from her chair, and for a second it looks like she might actually walk off, but she sits back down and says, I cannot believe you just said that. We discuss politics, social issues, things that actually matter. You're comparing that two singing competitions. Asterisk Ryan's calm demeanor is almost unsettling at this point. He says, Joy, who decides what matters you? Because I promise you, for a lot of people out there, watching someone achieve their dream of becoming a singer matters a great deal. For parents watching their kids be inspired to pursue their passions, that matters. For people who just want an escape from the heaviness of the news cycle, that matters. You don't get to be the arbiter of what's meaningful to other people. Asterisk Joy throws her hands up. So you're saying a singing competition is as important as discussions about democracy and human rights? Asterisk and Ryan says, I'm saying both have value in different ways. And pretending that only serious political discourse has merit is elitist and disconnected from how most people actually live their lives. Not everyone wants to spend every waking moment debating policy. Joy, sometimes people just want to be entertained, and there's nothing wrong with that. Asterisk another co-host finally manages to get a word in. I think what's interesting here is that you're both passionate about different types of content, and maybe that's okay. Asterisk, but Joy immediately responds with, no, it's not about different types of content. It's about integrity. Ryan cuts her off. Integrity. Joy. Let me tell you about integrity. Integrity is treating people with respect. Integrity is honoring the hard work that goes into creating any form of entertainment. Integrity. It's not dismissing something just because it doesn't fit your narrow definition of what's worthwhile. I have integrity in my work, and so do the thousands of people who work on these shows. And frankly, I'm tired of people like you acting like what we do is somehow less than what you do. Joy's voice rises. People like me. What is that supposed to mean? Ryan doesn't back down. People who think that if something is popular or fun or accessible, it must be dumb. People who confuse being critical with being intelligent. People who think looking down on entertainment makes them more sophisticated. I've met people like that my entire career, and it's exhausting. While you're sitting here criticizing these shows, millions of people are finding joy in them. And joy matters. Joy, even if you don't think so. The irony of him saying that to someone named Joy is not lost on anyone. A few of the other co-hosts suppress smiles despite the tension. Joy says, "That is not fair, Ryan. I never said joy doesn't matter." Ryan leans in. "You didn't have to say it. It's in every word you've said since I sat down. You've made it clear that you think what I do is beneath you, that the audiences who enjoy it are somehow being duped. And I'm telling you right now, that's wrong. Those audiences are smart. They know what they're watching. They're choosing to engage with it, and their choices are just as valid as yours." Joy says, "I think you're putting words in my mouth, Ryan. I never said the audiences were dumb." Ryan responds, "You said the shows are manufactured and exploitative." Joy, what do you think that implies about the people who watch them? If someone is being exploited, that means they're being taken advantage of. That means they don't know better. That's the subtext of everything you've said, whether you want to admit it or not. Joy looks around at her co-hosts, clearly hoping for backup, but they're all just watching. One of them finally says, "I think both of you are making interesting points, and maybe we should take a breath here." But Ryan isn't done. He says, "No, I actually think this is an important conversation to have. There's this divide in media right now between people who think entertainment should only be educational or challenging, and people who understand that entertainment can be many things. It can be escapism, inspiration, community, comfort. All of those things have value." Joy says, "Fine, Ryan, you've made your point. I get it. You think I'm an elitist who doesn't understand regular people?" Ryan shakes his head and says, "I didn't say that, Joy. What I'm saying is that you're making judgments